All right, guys, it's noon on the dot. That means it is time for the Picks and Parlays live cap. I'm going to be your host. I'm Allie Burns, and with me as always, we've got Nick Parsons on the line all the way from Canada in the Insiders Room. Nick, how's it going?
What's up, Allie? It's going great. Yeah, here we go. Another week. Going to give out some more winners, I hope, for sure, and hope to get a little more audience interaction here as well.
I'm glad you mentioned that. For all of you watching at home, please feel free to comment on anything, ask us any questions you have. We'll try to answer them to the best of our ability. And also let us know if there is a game that you'd like to be capped for our Friday show. Let us know what's going on and let us know how you did last weekend. It's been a good week. It was a good week for me. Did you have a good weekend?
Yeah, I've had an exceptional little stretch run here, actually, ever since the sports restart. I've done really well with my Insiders Room picks at Picks and Parlays. So I was 5-0 on Saturday. I was 4-3 on Sunday. I went 3-2 on Monday. I went 2-1 on Monday. I went 2-1 yesterday. In fact, I come into today, I've won 10 straight days in a row. So things are going really well right now.
Well, that is incredible. I had a good weekend. I had a crap yesterday. I'm just going to be honest. Full disclosure. I made 3 baseball bets and I lost every one of them. So
listen, I'm really realistic. I understand that streaks like this come to an end at some point, but I'm definitely hoping that I can keep that going tonight for sure.
Yeah, keep it chugging along, man. I mean, viewers at home, it's important to know if we get 55% of our bets right, we're winners. And that's what we're shooting for here. You're not going to win them all. You just can't.
No, absolutely.
So I've got 3 games we're going to talk about today.
Okay, and maybe a fourth.
And maybe a fourth. Yeah, if we have time, we'll pop into some NHL. So we're going to do the NBA playoff game, the Heat and the Celtics. I feel like we talk about this game every time we see each other. We're like, that's part of the schedule.
It's that time of year, so
yeah,
just a few games left.
And it's a great series, so, can't get too upset. We're going to do some baseball. We'll do the Brewers and the Reds. They're finishing up their 3-game series tonight, so we'll give you a free pick on that one. And then also for the Thursday night football game, Dolphins at the Jaguars.
Stash versus the beard.
I love the stash, okay?
Okay, well, you know what? We're going to agree on that one when we get to that one, because that's my play on that one, too.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Okay.
Okay, so Heat and the Celtics and the Heat. Here we go. I'm showing Celtics -3. I see the total. I think it's 210.5 now. It was 210. The Heat are up in the series 2-1. Celtics are playing back, and probably the most important thing that happened since the last time we talked is that Gordon Hayward came back to the Celtics, and he can be a difference maker. So I'm gonna let you start this one off, Nick. What do you think about the Celtics and the Heat?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned even before the show, we've talked about this series a lot. So this. Obviously, Boston got off the schneid there. It finally solved the riddle there, and it got the 117-106 win in Game 3.
Right.
And so I do have a play on the side in this one, so I'm going to stay away from that. Okay. But I do think that this is going to be a highly contested contest. I think these two very defensive, skilled teams are going to battle it out here. I think the extra couple of days off is going to benefit. It's going to give these guys their legs back. And so I think that this total is going to go under the number when it's all said and done. The under is 5-2-1, the last 8 in the series between these clubs. Mm-hmm. And just one thing I wanted to point out, the over-under in Game 3, it was 208. And now in Game 4, it's jumped like 3.5 points. It's like a 211.5.
Yeah.
And so I think I think this adjustment, I think it's too much. These were 2 of the best defensive clubs in the regular season. They're 2 of the best defensive clubs in the playoffs as well. I mean, Boston looked really good defensively against the Raptors, and Miami looked really great defensively against the Bucks in their 5-game series win. And so that's, Allie, is my read on the total. I think it's going to be a really aggressive and defensive affair. I do have a big play on this one. And I also wanted to say that I also have a play on the Lakers game tomorrow night, and I'm 3-0 in that series. So I have a total going in that one as well.
All right. Well, okay. Before I go, guys, check out Nick Parsons picks at picksandparlays.net. That's where you can get those premium picks. Okay. So my read on this is pretty much the same as yours. And I'm looking at it from the public's perspective that game one, it pushed the total, but went into overtime and of course went over. Game two was under, but only by a point. And game three went over by a lot, 209 to 233. But I agree that now everyone's kind of had a chance to mellow out for a minute. I think the betting public is going to say over. And I think the line reflects that by being at 210 and going up to 211. That means people are betting on the over.
Correct.
I agree that this would probably have more of a tendency to go under. And especially one of our commenters from last week said, if Gordon Hayward's playing, that game goes under. Well, this one did go over,
right.
but now he's back. And so I agree with that. I'm liking the under on this play. Although I think when I gave out my free pick, I gave it over a few days ago.
Right. No, I think it's a great situational play, the way that it sets up for the under there. But what about yourself as far as the side is concerned here? I know you sort of have played on or against both of these teams, and I know you sort of like Boston as a fan or whatever, but how do you, but you know, previous to the Celtics winning that last game, Miami had been on this incredible roll. It was like 10-1 straight up and against the spread in the playoffs. And so then it has this one game where it loses. And so is this an overreaction? People just are, okay, Boston now has the blueprint for Miami here, or what do you think? Do you think Spoelstra is going to have something special planned and to counter, or what's your take on the side, anyways?
I'm still sticking with the Heat here, and I've said it before. The Celtics they're one of my favorite teams in the NBA. They're definitely my favorite team in this contest, but that to me is a bit of a heart bet. Whereas, I mean, the Heat lost their second game in the playoffs. I'm not going to overreact to that. They lost one in the last round. They came back and won that series. I have a series price on the Heat, and I think it's plus 240 that I got a while ago. So
nice.
So yeah, I could see myself taking the side if Boston flipped into some plus money in game. Maybe I could hedge myself, but at game 4, I don't think I'm there yet. And ready to hedge. I still like the Heat. I think there's something magic going on there. And the more that I think about, you brought up the point last week, which I'm always looking for some kind of contrarian angle or some kind of, thing that we're not looking at that maybe the NBA is doing. And when you said, wouldn't it be something if LeBron had to play his former 3-time NBA championship team in the Heat, wouldn't that be one for the books? And so that even kind of furders my go with the Heat thing that I've got going on right now. I love that rule.
Yeah, the NBA, I mean, either storyline would work. If it's the Lakers versus Boston, or if it's the Lakers and LeBron versus his former team Miami there, the NBA just has to hope that Denver doesn't manage to come back. But yeah, that's for tomorrow night. We're not looking at that game. And what we will be doing on Friday, as I wanted to mention, is we're going to sort of call that Football Friday. And so if there's anybody in the chat that wants us to review any of those games on Friday, please let us know any of those games. Rycape here is saying he thinks, or this is the highest total of the series.
Yeah.
Both teams are rested. He thinks this game goes over, but he also agreed with you. He says he's on the Heat. So
smart guy, Rye. You're a smart guy. But I wouldn't talk you off of the over. Like I said, my free pick yesterday was the over. But the more I look at the numbers and think about it, I haven't made the play yet. I could see this totally going under because they've had the rest and maybe they, have lost a little bit of that get up and go that you sometimes have when you're just in the mix of it all,
Right.
Yeah. I'm gonna stick with you here, Nick, and stick with the under, I believe.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, and Gordon Hayward, when he came back, he didn't just come back and play a few. He was in 31 minutes. He had 6 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. He was all over the court there. He made his presence known.
That's perfect way to work your way back into the mix. And
he's one of those guys that really guards the perimeter too. So that's going to attest for the under also.
Right.
Also. Okay. Anything else on basketball? You want to move along?
Yeah, why don't we move along? We're gonna touch on the beard versus the stash game here?
Yes, we can do that.
Okay.
So I have to put a disclaimer out here. Gardner Minshew is my hall pass. I love him. I've followed him since Washington State. The Pirate, Mike Leach, is like my favorite college football coach. So this guy is my guy. Okay, there, I said it. So I'm fine.
Okay, well, but that's not the reason you like the Jaguars so much.
No, it's not. So just to set the game up, it's Dolphins at Jaguars. The Jags are -3. The total is 47. Dolphins are 0-2. They lost to who'd they lose to? Miami.
They lost to the Patriots in week 1, and then they got blown out, they lost a tight one at home to the Bills, 31-28 last week.
Yes. Jaguars are 1-1. They lost to the Titans, but they beat, I don't know why my computer's lagging. I can't catch up right now with what I'm saying. They beat the Colts at home on Philip Rivers' debut. Yes, I remember that.
1-1 straight up, but 2-0 against the spread.
Right. And that's what I look at is against the spread. I mean, that's what we're doing here. That should be the stat that really matters, right?
Right. Well, good teams win and great teams cover. So
exactly.
There you go.
So yeah, game 2 for the Jags was kind of a tough loss. You know, they had they lost on a field goal late in the game. Minshew got sacked twice in that game, but he really tried to rally the Jags in the fourth quarter. He really tried to get that team together. They outgained the Titans 480-354, but they just could not score enough. But I feel that motivation and that team leadership coming from him, whereas I don't necessarily feel that from Ryan Fitzpatrick. About this.
I agree. Minshew is a competitor, and he just doesn't give up. He doesn't care about the pieces around him. He's making the most of this moment every single time that he's out there on the field. And I can already see Rycape is disagreeing with us here. He thinks there's going to be a little Fitz magic tomorrow night. There are some interesting stats here. I just wanted to bring up about 0-2 teams here. So how NFL teams that start 0-2 against the spread perform in week 3. And so the last 4 seasons, they're 22-7 against the spread for 75.9%. So that's how NFL teams that start 0-2 against the spread then perform in week 3. So over the last 4 seasons, they're 22-7 against the spread, those teams. And over the last 10 seasons, it's 47-28 against the spread. And so the teams that are 0-2 against the spread right now are the Jets, Browns, Titans, Texans, Cowboys, Eagles, Lions, Vikings, and the Panthers.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah. But, yeah, for Miami, for Minshew, yeah, as he mentioned, he had 339 yards and 3 touchdowns, but he also had the 2 interceptions. But he has 2 straight difficult road games after this at Cincinnati and Houston, respectively. Mm-hmm. So this is a game that Jacksonville probably would have had circled on their calendars before the season started as one of their winnable games, Right. Miami's schedule, it's difficult, and I think it very well could, have already thrown the towel in on the season. So they have the Seahawks at home next week, Miami does, and then it has 2 on the road at San Francisco and Denver, followed by a game at home versus the Chargers and Rams, and then another road game at Arizona. I mean, that's a really tough schedule for Miami here. And then it finally catches a break with back-to-back games versus the Jets. And so, I mean, let's face it, neither of these teams are going to be in the playoffs. But yeah, as you mentioned, I just think Minshew and the Jaguars, they're playing better through all 3 phases right now. And despite no fans in the stands, I think they still benefit greatly here from playing at home. And just finally, the Jaguars, they're also 4-1 against the spread in their last 5 overall. In Miami, it's a pitiful 7-15 against the spread in its last 22 on the road. And it's only 2-14 its last 16 straight up on the road. So that's my reasoning behind this one. I think the short week also works in favor of the Jags. I mean, these are 2 dumpster fire teams, but I think, I think that there's those little things working in favor of Jacksonville all add up. And so I think yeah, that's the reason why I like Jacksonville here. And just for the record, I don't have any official plays at on this game yet over at Picks and Parlays, but that's my strongest play on this particular game.
All right. Well, I'm totally with you there, obviously. Not really going to look at a total on this one just yet. Going to kind of see what it does. But I do want to bring up the point, 2-0 teams. You guys know I'm a Houston Texans fan. I'm from Houston, Texas. It's not like something I chose, okay? but so the Raiders game that happened, the Raiders-Saints that just happened Monday Night Football, right?
Mm-hmm.
I had the Raiders on the money line, and I had the over on that. And if you notice, the Saints line, it started at 6, and it just started ticking down. So it got to, I think, 4, maybe 3.5. The same thing is happening right now with the Texans and the Steelers, where there's a team that no one thought that the Raiders were really going to handle the Saints the way that they did. And now here are the Texans, haven't won a game, going into Pittsburgh, who hasn't lost a game, and that number's only 6, Big Ben at home, and it's ticking down to 4. I'm just saying, maybe I'm the homer here, but keep your eye on that line and put some thought into the Houston Texans losing 3 in a row. I'm just saying.
You're thinking going against Houston here?
No, I'm thinking you take Houston.
Oh,
here.
right. Yes, absolutely.
That line it's the same thing that happened with the Raiders. No one thought
it is. You're right. Yeah.
But all that sharp money's coming in and the point spread's dropping. Like, you got to think about that. That's how these things work a lot of the time, most of the time.
And then also look at the two teams that each of those two teams have played.
Right.
Houston has played back-to-back Kansas City and Baltimore.
Yep.
And Pittsburgh has played New York. And who did they play last week? I can't. Sorry, I wasn't completely prepared on that one.
Right, Cape, let us know. Who did Steelers play last week? You're on it.
Another team.
Broncos. The Broncos.
Yeah, right. The Broncos. And so there you go.
Two teams.
Yeah, and so the Broncos have so many different issues and stuff. And so how can you get a proper read on either of these two teams at this point when you're considering their competition? And so I think that we are going to get a firm read. And so, yeah, I would think that of those two teams, who is the more desperate? Also, Pittsburgh had some issues with its offensive line coming into this weekend. So I would agree that's one to keep your eyes on.
I'm pretty sure I took that last night, Houston plus 170, because I didn't want it to go down any further. Right. But I'm just throwing that y'all's way. Double check that game.
Nice.
Jump into bed with Big Ben, okay?
Yeah.
Might kick you right out. Okay, so any football comments we should touch on, or?
Yeah, and just a reminder to everyone, you guys, we're going to do Football Fridays. We also plan to have some of the other handicappers on at Picks and Parlays, especially some of the hottest handicappers that are on there. We could get some of them on each week that are leading the leaderboards in some of the different sports or overall. And so definitely looking forward to having on even a third or a fourth person for this. That would be really fun and exciting and something different. And then also, Football Fridays. If you are in the chat and you want us to review a game on Friday for the weekend, either college or NFL, please let us know, and we will take care of that.
Yes, we will. That's what we do here. Help you make bets.
Yeah,
help you win bets.
And give you what you want.
Yes. Okay, so we're going to move into some baseball.
All right.
We're going to talk.
That's for tonight. That is tonight's game.
This is a tonight game, so you can just make your bet right now. Get your app ready. So we're going to talk Brewers and Reds. This is the third game in their 3-game series. And I mean, this whole season, they've just really been battling it out. And the Reds are kind of in a fun spot right now because the Brewers, who have the better offense, it's not even really arguably have the better offense, they have all season long, are kind of slumping in the offensive department right now. So the Reds have taken advantage of this. I'm showing them for the game tonight at minus 155, and the total is 8.
Or 8.5, I think.
Did it move up?
Yeah, 8.5.
So 8.5. And it's going to be Brewers are starting Adrian Hauser. That kid's been good in the past, but I just can't really get behind him this year. And usually what happens, because that Brewers offense is so good, is that he'll kind of screw the pooch in the beginning and get taken out. Not a great showing, but then they end up winning the game in later innings. And the Brewers are one of those teams that really like to hit later. But Cincinnati Reds are starting with Trevor Bauer. And this guy, I mean, he was 4-1 at one point, and then his offense let him down. Now he's 4-4. But I mean, this guy, 65 innings pitched, he's got 88 strikeouts. He's lights out, 1.80 ERA. His whip is under 1, I'm pretty sure. I think it's like 0.80. This guy's insane.
Yeah.
Let me know what you think before I get on a bigger rant than I'm already on.
No worries. I mean, I actually had a play on the Reds in the first game, which they won. And then last night I had a play on the Brewers on the run line, although they didn't need it when they won 3-2. Right. And guess what? I also have a play on the side in today's game in this one. So you can head on over to picksandparlays.net and check out the insiders room there. But yeah, so I'll instead focus on the total. So for me, I'm going to go with the over in this one. Yesterday's contest stayed under the number in the Brewers 3-2 win. But Trevor Bauer, I mean, you pointed out he's 4-4 now, but he still just has the 1.80 ERA. Yeah. He gave up the 2 home runs over 7 innings in a 5-0 loss to the White Sox in his last outing, though. And Hauser, I mean, he's a complete gas can. He's seen better days. This has been a disastrous season for him. He's just 1-5 with a 5.33 ERA, and he hasn't lasted more than 4 2/3 innings in any of his last 3 trips to the hill. In fact, Hauser has conceded at least 4 runs in 6 straight starts and 11 combined over just his last 2. So it's true. Neither team has actually played to many overs of late or against each other. But as I say, I do have a strong read on the side in this one, and you can pick that up at Picks and Parlays. But as far as the total is concerned, that's my lean. That's my main pick on this one. I like the over, and there you go.
I could see that. My only thing is, okay, so I feel like the Reds are going to win the game. And typically when the Reds win a game, it's like 4-1 or 3-2, or it's not a super high scoring game. But that being said, my play on this with the free picks last night was the under in the first 5, that I think Bauer will keep it together. But then I kind of checked over my stats some more, and since both of these teams love to hit in the first 5, but since Hauser is so not good, and since the Reds like to hit so much, then it kind of made me feel like maybe this is an overplay for first 5, but I'm sticking with it. I'm going to go under the first 5 because I am.
All right. No,
my numbers said.
Yeah. No, as we say, we don't always have to agree on every single pick. That's ridiculous. We need to have contrasting opinions on certain things, and we can respect each other's and learn and move forward on different things. But that's how you do formulate different ideas and different things. And so, fair enough. And as you said, but as far as the side, what's your strongest lean on that one?
I think the Reds will win this one. And I like the Trevor. I mean, for most pitchers, if you said that, he threw 5 strikeouts and 2 earned runs over 7 innings. I mean, that's like a decent day for most pitchers. But in the game before that, Bauer threw 10 strikeouts. In the game before that, he threw 12 strikeouts. So that's not a normal day for Trevor Bauer. So I'm looking for him to kind of have the Bauer bounce back, right?
I mean, this is such a critical last few games for these teams and in this race. And so, I mean, it's going to have a playoff-like atmosphere, even though there won't be any fans there, but just as far as the intensity that these players will be giving. There's Allie. She likes the under first 5, and she likes the Reds. And my official play on this one is the over 8.5 for the entire game.
I like it over 8.5 because I think once Bauer goes down, I mean, the Reds have probably already got a couple on the board at this point. Bauer comes out. Now the Brewers can open up and try to catch up to whatever they're behind. We know that, Yelich is still in the home. I think, isn't Yelich still in the home run race? Guys are trying to rack up their home runs, rack up their stats, so. I mean, no one's going to lay down and take it. I promise. No one's going to lay down and roll over right now. So yeah,
Right.
it's a good series. It's been a really good series. Every time
it has. It's just been such an interesting series, and it's been an interesting way that the entire season is winding down, and just it's different just because of the just how different it is. So it's been very interesting to watch and how it's all playing out here. I'm not even sure if anyone's really clinched. Surely, I mean, as of yesterday, no one had clinched a division.
Right.
Not even the Dodgers had, but perhaps that's going to be happening. I mean, it has to be. It's just that San Diego was so close with them, but I mean, the A's, the Braves, the Rays, these are all teams which are on the cusp of clinching their divisions.
Well, and if you remember, this just popped in my head, but I remember looking at series prices at the very beginning of the season, and I was shocked. The Reds were the favorite, minus 105 to win that division. So
they were a very, very popular pick by many handicappers as far as futures were concerned. I absolutely remember that. Yeah,
they got injured, they got beat up. Mustakas had something to deal with that, so they really kind of had to. Oh, the Cubs clinch, says Riot Cape.
Oh, the Cubs did clinch. Okay.
All right, we'll take it. I saw that coming. That was bound to happen.
Right, and so I think that was a little bit of outside help because they lost last night, right?
Right,
the Cubs did, and they won the previous game. They had won 5-0 with Pittsburgh, and so that's a 4-game series. And actually, I think the Cubs end out in A's did too. Dodgers clinched NL West last night. Okay, so they have clinched. So yeah, as of yesterday morning, they hadn't. So now these teams are clinching. So yeah, I know it's going to be super interesting, and that game that we just reviewed and that series has been great for sure.
Yeah. It's mental in the Central. All right. So do you want to touch on a little hockey? We've got a few minutes left. I don't know a whole lot about what's going on, so I always leave these ones to you, and then I just open my app and I take your pick. And that's how this works between us. So
Right. I'm not super prepared to go into this one. I've been doing extremely well with my NHL picks over at Picks and Parlays. In fact, I'm the number 2. Insiders Room is the number 2 ranked service there right now and that was just since the restart. And so I do have a play on this game as well. But just as far as our show, sorry, I'm not completely prepared to get into that there. Of course, it's currently tied 1-1. I just think that these teams are pretty evenly matched. And I mean, I think that the line reflects that. Tampa sort of came into this series with a disadvantage. It was less rested. It was more banged up. And the Stars had more time to rest after finishing their conference finals early. But now that the series is 3 games deep, I think that factor is now wiped out. And so, it's an interesting series. And anyways, I've been doing extremely well with these picks. And if you want to follow along to what I'm doing, you can just go over to picksandparlays.net. You can follow the Insiders Room there and go from there.
And what's your Twitter handle?
Right. And so that's at theinsidersroom.com.
Okay, that's what
and what is yours? We need to get that up for next time as well.
I know. We got
there's yours. And so now I have yours up.
Yeah, I'm at Plus Money Honey. Yeah.
Right.
Keep it simple. Yeah, and I always post the free pick videos and all that stuff on my Twitter. I'm not the best tweeter of things, but right. I'm more of the Facebook side of social media, so I apologize, but I'm Allie Burns on Facebook if you guys want to find me. I have a Plus Money Honey page there. And then I use my Twitter to post free picks, and that's like my sports social media because my Facebook people aren't that into it.
Right.
I don't need to know about every game that happens, Allie. So fair enough.
So Football Friday,
yes.
No one threw anything at us, but you never know what will happen between now and then. And so we'll make sure to highlight some really popular games and ones that we think that people will be the most interested in. I mean, we might as well definitely touch on that Monday night game. What do you think? Because that's going to be a big one there with Kansas City going to Baltimore. So we'll definitely check that one out.
I'm really excited about that game.
Absolutely. I can't wait.
And we'll do college also. I'll do the college rapid fire like we did before, and just spit off some picks that I've been getting all week from our free pick videos to give you guys a spot. And yeah, we'll spend some more time on NFL and just give you as many picks as we can. So bring a pen and paper because going to be a lot of information headed your way.
Bang, bang, bang picks. And maybe we can even get another capper on. I mean, that would be cool if we can do that as well. So
we've
maybe I'll think about
cappers. Tons of them, so.
Yeah. So I'll think about that, and maybe I'll approach one and set that up.
Okay, cool. Excellent.
All right.
All right, guys. Thank you all for joining us. Check us out this coming Friday for Football Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern, right here at Picks and Parlays. Thanks, Nick. See you later.